Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And I imagine if you come to this channel, you are a holder of XRP, which is the digital asset that secures the XRP ledger. And it is one of the better digital assets for payments. Well, we've got a big, serious payments issue happening right now on the Bitcoin network. And you want to know what's going on, even if you don't hold Bitcoin, because I think this is going to be a big chance for the attributes, the speed, the efficiencies, and everything that makes the XRP ledger and the digital asset XRP one of the first choices out there to move value. I think it's going to be highlighted and have a chance to really be in the spotlight because we've got this new BRC20 token, which is affiliated with the NFTs for the Bitcoin network, causing a lot of congestion. And with that congestion comes high fees. And we're talking about serious high fees. The total fees to date for the miners is $29,956,917. Unbelievable, right? So let's just back up here for a second. When you have a transaction, you have a node that's going to verify that transaction. And then it goes into what's called a meme pool. And in the meme pool, it's waiting there to be picked up by a miner. And the Bitcoin miners, well, they cherry pick. They pick the highest fees first and put those through. But when things get congested, well, it's just, a matter of some of those transactions just get passed and passed again and passed again because, they're not high enough for the miners to be attracted. And this is causing now, people to put through high fees so that they can get their transaction through. But these NFTs, which have data like audios, image, text, video attached to them, it began to surge. You can see here ordinal surge of use all the way from the end of April till May here. And the inscriptions, which is like the metadata, they're filling up the Bitcoin block space. Here's an example of a real world fee. This is a person in El Salvador, and she witnessed a cash withdrawal via her Bitcoin and was charged $21.71 on just getting $100 out. Can you believe it? This is a country that has the average salary of $300 to $350 per month. And what just about took me off my chair today is Michael Saylor is calling this bullish. He thinks the congestion is bullish, and he thinks that the miners should be ecstatic. Well, what about the people who are trying to send and receive Bitcoin? His disconnect from reality is unbelievable. And now this congestion is spilling over into big problems on the Lightning Network. I would recommend that you follow at least one Lightning Network developer on Twitter. Here's one, Renee Pickard. He's very good, and he talks about how on-chain congestion was always known to be a big problem for Lightning. Former Ripple employee Matt Hamilton recommended that XRP be used for El Salvador instead of Bitcoin. So it's these kinds of opportunities to speak out which can bring more awareness to the XRP ledger. One of those applications that should be highlighted without a shadow of a doubt would be Spend the Bits. It's using the XRP ledger to move Bitcoin, and it also is in the middle of a proof of concept with Flare Networks. In just about an hour and a half, there's going to be a hearing. This is going to be a good one. It's the future of digital assets, measuring the regulatory gaps in the digital assets market. When we look at the agenda, we can also see that there was a document added on May 5th, and we come down here to the supported documents in a public memo, and this PDF is very interesting. It's a draft discussion on some proposed legislation. It's been put forth by Dusty Johnson of South Dakota. He is circling the SEC with 7 actions in this bill. The first action to resolve in that proposed bill would be the process that the SEC uses to determine if a digital asset is offered and sold pursuant to an investment contract is not fit for purpose. Will Gensler follow a Sun Tzu strategy? Sun Tzu said that if I am surrounded by the enemy and only think of effecting an escape, the nervelessness of my policy will incite my adversary to pursue and crush me. It would be far better to encourage my men to deliver a bold counterattack and use the advantage thus gained to free myself from the enemy's toils. There's going to be a lot of people making news on raising the debt ceiling. The U.S. started the raising of the debt ceiling business back in 1939, and it's been raised, extended, or revised 78 times since 1960. In 1953, that was when they had the big crisis, and they had to use the free gold that remained from the devaluation of the dollar in 1934, and it was monetized, and then they finally resolved everything in 1954. But it seems like I've seen this movie before. I don't think we will default, and everybody uses this to push their agenda, and they'll take it all the way to the line this time, I'm sure. I'm in the middle of doing a deep dive on the Dubai International Financial Center, which is where Ripple is located. They're expanding their office, and they've also chosen to have Dubai as the new location for Swell. The Ripple managing director for that part of the world is Naveen Gupta. I'm going to let him take you out on this video. He was interviewed by CoinDesk. Have a listen.
Ripple has announced that it plans to expand its presence in Dubai. This comes in the wake of Ripple's CEO reportedly saying the firm's legal battle with the SEC is set to cost the firm around $200 million. Joining us to discuss is Naveen Gupta, Ripple South Asia, and Nina, Managing Director. Welcome, Naveen.
Jen, Emily, thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you there. Before we dig into it, we have to talk about this $200 million number. What do you make of this when it's costing firms hundreds of millions of dollars to defend themselves against the SEC? What does that mean for the sector?
I really don't have much to comment beyond this. Now the decision is with the judge to make a decision, and I think everything is in public domain. So really don't have anything more to comment, right?
So I take it you're here because on the show to talk a little bit about Ripple's expansion to Dubai. But let's just sort of, with the main thing people are asking, is Ripple kind of done with the US? I mean, is that part of this? I mean, do you think, is this actually like part of a strategy to move out of the US for some of these regulatory issues that you've been facing?
So I think, definitely say if you look at UAE as a market, it's very attractive to us. Middle East as a market is doing very well. And the comparison that I can draw is I used to work in the Valley from year 2001 to 2005, and you had three ingredients going in the Valley at that time. You had absolutely brilliant talent, you had VC money that was available, and then you had enabling regulation. And at least in the blockchain space, I can see exactly the same thing happening in the UAE. Every week, I see projects, people coming and calling UAE their home. We have got both public and private money, and then we also have got great progressive regulation here. And I think that essentially is the right ingredient for the blockchain Silicon Valley to be essentially be based here in the UAE. So I essentially see that happening, and Ripple is here to take advantage of it, and that's the reason we're expanding and in growing in the UAE.
Tell us a little bit more about your expansion plans. The UAE next, but the UAE now, but what's next? What's next on Ripple's roadmap?
Yeah, just UAE itself, we'll be serving the whole region, not just the UAE, because this serves as our launch pad for Middle East and North Africa. So just a couple of things. So for example, as you know, Global Swell, which is our annual event, this is going to happen in the UAE this year. And what we're going to bring is we're going to bring a large number of customers to firsthand experience both the regulatory progress in the UAE and also the progress that we have made. So it's a great show for them to come into. And then second, we are also expanding in terms of our offices, in terms of the work that we are doing here, and we are very bullish on where this is going.
How would you characterize the crypto regulatory environment in the Middle East if you had to compare it to what we're seeing in the US right now?
I think it's just light. I mean, it's day and night, right? So what I can see, because I experience mainly the UAE, I think the regulators are very open. You can come up with an idea, have a dialogue with the regulator, agree on the way forward, and you're able to move forward with very quick speed. Also, you're able to very quickly mobilize in terms of team. You're able to scale up and then constantly go back to the regulator if the model changes in some way. So this is this healthy two-way dialogue that's creating the fertile ground for companies to grow in the Web3 space.